Today, we're diving deep into the electrifying drama unfolding on the bold and the beautiful Tuesday, July 8th, brings a tidal wave of tension, as Luna Knows All finds herself at the heart of a violent confrontation with Sheila Sharp, leaving Steffy Forrester reeling in disbelief. This episode is packed with shocking twists, emotional turmoil, and unexpected consequences that will keep fans on the edge of their seats. Let's unravel the chaos at the beach house, explore the intricate dynamics between the characters, and speculate on the fallout that will undoubtedly ripple through the Forrester and Finnegan families for weeks to come. Buckle up as we dissect every heart-pounding moment and delve into the motivations, fears, and desires driving this explosive storyline, a deadly encounter at the beach house. The serene backdrop of the beach house becomes the stage for a harrowing showdown, as Luna Knows All, consumed by a dangerous obsession, faces off with Sheila Sharp. Luna, desperate to forge a perfect family unit with Finn and Hayes. Finnegan has convinced herself that Steffy Forrester is the sole obstacle to her happiness. Her mind, clouded by delusion, paints Steffy as a villain who must be removed at all costs. As waves crash against the shore, deer inside the beach house crackles with tension. Sheila, having rushed to the scene in a bid to prevent a catastrophe, finds herself walking a tightrope. She recognizes the instability in Luna's eyes, and knows that one wrong word or move could ignite an irreversible disaster. Sheila, despite her own controversial past, approaches the situation with a surprising maternal instinct. Her goal is to protect not just Steffy but also Luna from making a choice she'll regret for the rest of her life. She pleads with Luna, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and determination to see reason. Sheila paints a vivid picture of a future where Luna's actions lead to nothing but pain and isolation, especially from Finn, who has already been torn between loyalties, but Luna's fixation on a fantasy family blinds her to Sheila's warnings. Her grip on reality slips further as she clutches the gun tighter, her resolve hardening with each passing second. A desperate gambit and a tragic turn in a daring attempt to defuse the situation. Sheila employs every trick in her arsenal. She feigns agreement with Luna's twisted plan, her words dripping with false sincerity as she offers to take the burden of eliminating Steffy herself. Her eyes start toward the weapon, calculating the risk of a sudden lunge. When this deception fails to sway, Sheila shifts tactics. Her tone growing stern, she warns Luna of the emotional wreckage that awaits if she harms Steffy. Finn's love for Steffy runs deep, and such a betrayal would shatter any hope of a bond with him. Sheila's words, laced with raw honesty, momentarily pierce through Luna's haze, but not enough to loosen her hold on the gun. As the confrontation escalates, Sheila makes a split-second decision, with Steffy watching in frozen horror from a corner of the room. Sheila dives for the weapon, her hands grappling with Luna's in a frenzied struggle. The room seems to hold its breath as their fight teeters on the edge of disaster. Then, in a deafening instant, the gun discharges. The sound reverberates through the beach house, a chilling echo of unintended violence. Luna stumbles back, her face a mask of shock as she realizes the bullet has struck Sheila, likely in the abdomen. Sheila crumples to the floor, her strength fading with each gasp while blood stains the pristine surroundings. Luna's world begins to unravel. Her plan, her control, and her future all hang in the balance as she stares at the unintended victim of her desperation. Steffy's trauma and Luna's next move. Steffy Forrester, a silent witness to this nightmare, feels her heart pound against her chest as the scene unfolds before her. The woman who has faced countless threats now finds herself powerless, her life hanging by a thread during this violent clash. Her mind races with memories of Finn and their son Hayes, a desperate wish to survive this ordeal for their sake. But the horror show isn't over. Luna now spiraling into panic after shooting. Sheila doesn't drop the weapon or surrender to remorse. Instead, her fractured state of mind pushes her toward even more reckless actions. Spoilers hint that during the week of July 7 to 11th, Luna will unleash further chaos, targeting additional victims in a rampage fueled by fear and a distorted sense of self-preservation. The beach house, once a place of solace, transforms into a battlefield where trust and safety are distant memories. Steffy must now grapple with immediate danger while processing the trauma of witnessing Sheila's potential demise. Her strength will be tested as she navigates the aftermath, knowing that Luna's unpredictability poses a threat not just to her, but to everyone she holds dear. Will Steffy find a way to escape, Or will she become the next casualty in Luna's unraveling vendetta family tensions, and leave Finnegan's harsh stance? Meanwhile, Finn is caught in an emotional storm of his own as he learns of the chaos surrounding Luna. His mother, Lee Finnegan, doesn't hold back her scathing opinions, her words cutting like a knife, as they discussed unfolding drama. Lee has never been a fan of Luna, viewing her as a volatile force who brings nothing but destruction to their family. In a heated conversation at the hospital, Lee expresses her deep-seated fears, her voice laced with frustration and anger. She argues that Luna's actions prove she's beyond redemption, a danger that cannot be contained by mere imprisonment. Lee's protective instincts as a mother clash with her professional composure, leading her to suggest that true safety for Finn and Hayes might only come if Luna is permanently removed from their lives. Finn, torn between his past connection to Luna and his commitment to Steffi, struggles to process Lee's harsh perspective. He paces the hospital corridors, his mind replaying memories of happier times with Luna, before her descent into obsession, yet the gravity of the situation at the beach house weighs heavily on him. Finn knows that every decision moving forward will have lasting consequences. His heart aches for a resolution that doesn't end in more loss. But Lee's warnings echo ominously, planting seeds of doubt about whether peace is even possible with Luna still in the picture. The ripple effects of tragedy as the dust settles on this catastrophic day. The Bold and the Beautiful sets the stage for a cascade of consequences. Sheila's fate hangs in the balance. Will she survive the gunshot wound? Or will this be the end of her tumultuous journey? Luna's actions, intentional or not, have forever altered her path, branding her as a figure of chaos in the eyes of those she once sought to win over. Her survival through the week's mayhem is confirmed by spoilers, but the same cannot be said for all her victims. The loss of at least one life in the coming episodes will send shockwaves through the community, deepening existing rifts and igniting new conflicts. The beach house incident will leave scars, but physical and emotional, in everyone involved. Steffi, if she emerges unscathed, will carry the weight of this drama, her trust in those around her shaken to an impossible balancing act. Mourning the potential loss of Sheila while fearing for Steffi and Lee's unyielding stance may drive a wedge between her and Finn as her calls for drastic measures clash with his hope for a less destructive resolution. And Luna, at the center of it all, must confront the wreckage of her choices, her dream of a happy family now a distant, shattered illusion. Next, we're taking a thrilling journey through the tumultuous life of Steffi Forrester on The Bold and the Beautiful, while current threats from Sheila Sharp and Luna Knows All loom large. Steffi's history is rife with peril that stretches back to her earliest years. From chilling abductions to betrayal-fueled crashes and deadly family feuds, Steffi's life has been a roller coaster of danger and survival. Join us as we revisit some of the most harrowing chapters of her past, adding fresh details and exploring the profound impact of these events on her character. Prepare to dive into a saga of resilience, heartbreak and near-death experiences that have shaped one of daytime TV's most enduring heroines. A childhood stolen. The Morgan DeWitt nightmare. Steffi's encounters with danger began at a tender age, long before she could comprehend the malicer on her during what should have been a joyful family vacation on a luxury yacht off the coast of a sun-drenched Caribbean island. Tragedy struck little Steffi, barely a toddler, tumbled overboard in a freak accident, her tiny form swallowed by the relentless waves. Her family was plunged into despair, presuming her loss forever to the sea and beknownst to them. She wasn't claimed by the ocean, but by something far more sinister. Morgan DeWitt, a former flame of Ridge Forrester, with a dangerous obsession, had orchestrated the incident, driven by a twisted desire to possess Regis' child as her own. Morgan snatched Steffi from the waters and vanished into the shadows, crafting a new identity for the child she renamed Marina. For months, Morgan raised Steffi in a secluded coastal villa, far from prying eyes, fitting tales of a perfect mother-daughter bond. She dyed Steffi's hair and altered her appearance, ensuring no one would recognize the missing Forrester heir. But fate intervened when Taylor Hayes, Steffi's biological mother, grew suspicious of Morgan's secretive behavior. During a seemingly innocent visit to Morgan's remote home, Taylor stumbled upon a child's toy that bore a striking resemblance to one step he had shared. Perished, her maternal instinct screaming, Taylor uncovered the horrifying truth before she could act. Morgan's desperation turned violent, struck Taylor unconscious with a heavy candlestick, binding her in the basement to prevent any interference. Meanwhile, Ridge, tormented by unanswered questions about Morgan's eerie calm after Steffi's death, dug deeper. With the help of a private investigator, he unearthed evidence of Morgan's deceit racing against time. Ridge stormed the villa, rescuing both his wife and daughter in a heart-stopping confrontation. That so Morgan apprehended this early trauma, though not fully remembered by Steffi, planted seeds of vulnerability that would surface in her later battles: a sister's loss and a lover's betrayal. As Steffi grew into a fierce young woman, danger followed her like a shadow, often intertwined with personal loss. The death of her twin sister Phoebe marked a devastating chapter that nearly broke her spirit during a late-night drive on a winding Los Angeles road. A car accident orchestrated by Rick Forrester's reckless behavior claimed Phoebe's life. The screech of tires and the shattering of glass haunted Steffi's nightmares for years, blaming Rick for the tragedy. Steffi initially harbored a burning resentment, her grief fueling a desire for justice. Yet over time, her pain softened into a reluctant forgiveness, and an unexpected romance blossomed between the two. Relationship that raised eyebrows among the Forrester clan. The Forresters, protective and wary of Rick's tumultuous history with their family, vehemently opposed the union. Steffi, however, driven by a mix of defiance and genuine affection, ignored their warnings. Their disapproval only strengthened her resolve to prove that love could heal old wounds. But beneath the surface, Rick hid a sinister motive. Late one stormy evening, a damning recording surfaced. Rick's voice, cold and calculating, admitting he was using Steffi as a pawn in a vengeful plot against Rich. The betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound, shattering Steffi's trust. When Rick discovered that Rich possessed the incriminating tape, he panicked, convincing Steffi to flee with him under the guise of a spontaneous elopement. Their escape turned into a high-stakes chase, as Ridge and Brooke Logan pursued them along treacherous mountain roads. Rain pounded the windshield as Steffi, gripped by fear, pleaded with Rick to slow down. Her pleas went unheard, and their car veered off the road in a catastrophic crash, metal twisting into a mangled heap. Miraculously, both emerged with only minor injuries, but the wreckage of their relationship was irreparable. This near-fatal incident became a stark reminder to Steffi that love, when tainted by deceit, could be as lethal as any weapon. A family feud turns deadly. Daily Forrester clash. Steffi's brushes with death weren't limited to outsiders. Even family ties couldn't shield her from mortal danger. In 2015, her cousin Ailey Forrester, once a sweet and unassuming presence, descended into a dark spiral of resentment. Ally's perception of Steffi warped over time, saw her cousin as a reckless, morally bankrupt figure who epitomized everything she despised about the Forrester legacy. This simmering hostility festered into a deadly obsession fueled by Ellie's unraveling mental state. She meticulously planned her revenge, waiting for the perfect moment to strike under the cover of darkness. One fateful night on the desolate stretch of the Pacific Coast Highway, Steffi found herself stranded after her car suffered a sudden flat tire. Unbeknownst to her, Ellie had sabotaged the vehicle earlier that evening, piercing the tires with a sharp tool and a calculated act of malice. As Steffi knelt by the roadside struggling to replace the tire under the dim glow of her headlights, Ellie emerged from the shadows, her eyes glinting with unhinged fury. What began as a verbal assault quickly escalated into physical violence. Ellie lunged at Steffi, pinning her to the gravel-strewn ground, her hands tightening around a jagged rock as she screamed threats of ending Steffi's life. The salty ocean breeze mixed with the scent of fear as Steffi fought for survival, her fingers scrambling for anything to defend herself. Grasping a tire iron, she swung with all her might, striking Ellie, who stumbled backward and struck her head on a sharp boulder. The sickening thud echoed in the night as Ellie collapsed lifeless, a tragic victim of her own hatred. Steffi, trembling and bloodied, survived the ordeal, but the weight of taking a family member's life, even in self-defense, left an indelible scar on her soul. In the eerie light of the moon, became a haunting memory of how quickly love could turn to lethal enmity within bloodlines. The ever-present threat of family enemies, the dangers posed by Sheila Sharp and Luna Knows All in the present day, are merely the latest in a long line of threats Steffi has endured. Sheila with her notorious his history of manipulation and violence, and Luna, driven by a volatile mix of desperation and delusion, represent familial adversaries cut from the same cloth as Ailey. Their intentions, whether born from obsession or revenge, mirror the past attempts on Steffi's life, reminding us that danger often wears the face of those closest to her. Each encounter, from Morgan's chilling abduction to Ollie's fatal rage, has forged Steffi into a survivor who navigates her world with a blend of caution and courage. Yet these experiences also underscore a poignant truth. Steffi's greatest enemies have often been those tied to her by love or lineage, a recurring theme that adds layers of complexity to her current struggles. Steffi's resilience, a legacy of survival through every near-death experience. Steffi Forrester has emerged not just as a victim, but as a warrior. The trauma of being stolen as a child taught her the fragility of safety, while Phoebe's death and Rick's betrayal instill the weary strength and matters of the heart. Ally's attack, perhaps the most personal of all, forced Steffi to confront the darkness within her own family, hardening her resolve to protect herself and those she loves at any cost. Each incident, though harrowing, has contributed to the steely backbone that defines her character today as she faces Sheila and Luna in the ongoing saga. Steffi carries the weight of her past, her instincts sharpened by years of surviving the unthinkable. Next, we're delving into a gripping chapter of the bold and the beautiful that promises to keep us glued to our screens next week. At the heart of the drama is Luna Nozawa, who is desperately trying to sway Sheila Carter to align with her deadly vision of a future without Steffi Forrester. With tension soaring at the beach house, family loyalties are tested, and a dangerous stance of manipulation unfolds. We'll explore every facet of this high-stakes confrontation, weaving in new details and imagined elements to enrich the storyline. From Luna's distorted dreams to Sheila's internal conflict and Steffi's looming peril. Let's unpack the electrifying events that could reshape the Forrester and Finnegan dynamics forever. Luna's dangerous delusion of family fantasy in a dimly lit corner of the beach house with the ocean's restless waves as a haunting backdrop. Luna Knows always spins a chilling tale of what could be her voice, tinged with both desperation and eerie conviction, paints a vivid picture of an idyllic life for herself and Sheila Carter. She envisions a tight-knit family herself at Finnegan's side, raising Hayes Finnegan together with Sheila embraced as a loving grandmother. But there's a dark catch to this dream. Steffi Forrester must be erased from the equation. Luna's obsession has twisted her perception, convincing her that Steffi is the sole barrier to this fantasy. Her eyes gleam with a manic hope as she describes family picnics on sunny cliffs and cozy evenings by a fireplace, all while clutching a gun that betrays the violence beneath her words. For Luna, this isn't just a wish, it's a mission, and she's determined to make Sheila see it as the only path to happiness. Sheila's race against time, a grandmother's dilemma. Sheila Carter, a woman with a notorious past now striving for redemption, finds herself thrust into a crisis that tests her newfound resolve. Last week on The Bold and the Beautiful, her instincts kicked into overdrive after a startling discovery at Steffi's home, spotting Luna's signature origami figure, a silicate paper crane scattered like ominous omen. Sheila's heart sank. She pieced together the horrifying truth her granddaughter was plotting something sinister against Steffi. With adrenaline pumping, Sheila pressed Taylor Hayes for answers, her voice cracking with urgency until Taylor reluctantly disclosed Steffi's location at the secluded beach house. Without a moment's hesitation, Sheila sped off, her mind racing with memories of her own dark deeds, and a fierce determination to prevent history from repeating itself. Through Luna arriving at the beach house, Sheila's mission is twofold: safeguard Steffi from Luna's wrath and save Luna from the abyss of her own destructive choices. The salty air carries the weight of her resolve. As she steps inside, Hara is locking on Luna's trembling form. Sheila's heart, a Cheshire, sees not just a threat, but a lost young woman spiraling out of control. Her plea for Luna to abandon this path is laced with raw emotion, conjuring images of a future where regret overshadows any fleeting victory. Yet as Luna's words about a life with Finn and Hayes seep into her mind, Sheila feels a flicker of temptation. The longing to be part of her son's world, to hear his call her grandma, tugs at her soul. But can she let this flicker grow into a flame? Or will her love for Finn's happiness extinguish it? A tempting vision and a moral struggle. Luna's relentless pitch strikes a deep chord with Sheila, who has yearned for a connection with Finn since the day she re-entered his life. The idea of a family united, free from Steffi's influence, dang before her like a forbidden fruit. Luna describes in vivid detail how they could celebrate birthdays together, with Finn's laughter filling a home where Sheila is no longer an outcast. For a fleeting moment, Sheila's gaze softens, imagining herself teaching Hayes to bake cookies in a sunlit kitchen. But this vision is quickly overshadowed by the reality of Finn's devotion to Steffi. Sheila knows that Finn's heart belongs to his wife, and shattering that bond by harming Steffi would plunge her son into misery priced too steep, even for her own desires. Over recent months, The Bold and the Beautiful has showcased a transformed Sheila, one who has fought to respect Finn's boundaries out of a profound, sacrificial love. She has honored Steffi's request to stay away, watching from afar as Finn builds a joyful life. Now standing before Luna, Sheila wrestles with this reformed identity. She counters Luna's selfish fixation with gentle but firm words urging her to consider Finn's perspective. But Luna's resolve hardens, her accusations flying. Steffi is the root of all her pain, from her fractured bond with Finn to her struggles with her newfound father. The gun in Luna's hand gleams under the beach house, lights a stark reminder of the stakes at play. Steffi's terror, a past haunting the prison for Steffi Forrester, trapped in this nightmarish standoff. Fear courses through her veins like wildfire. The cold steel of Luna's gun, aimed with unsteady intent, evokes a visceral dread that mirrors a not-so-distant memory. It wasn't long ago that Sheila herself fired a shot at Steffi, a moment of violence that left physical and emotional scars. Now history seems poised to repeat itself, with Luna echoing Sheila's past malice.